Welcome to the Sparky Coach podcast. This platform was built by Sparkies for Sparkies. We simply exist to make business owners more profitable, or businesses more profitable and more predictable. So we want to work with people that work hard because we love working hard too, that work smart because you got to be on top of the business, people that are kind because no one likes a dickhead. Am I right? People who want results because that's what we're here for, right? And people who want to be part of a like-minded community. So if you're interested in hearing more about the platform, please reach out and enjoy the podcast. Crowe here, the Crowe Show, coming at you. Talking today about ways to hire. Now, hiring is one of the most underrated things you can do in a business. And it's so interesting because lots of people will be like, oh, I don't want to ever hire anyone. And I think if you're just by yourself, your overheads are usually really heavy. And if you get an apprentice on board, if you've got the right type of work, they can be billable. And if that's correct, you can train them up and raise them up, and you can grow a small team pretty organically. But apprentices also present their own issues. Like, what do you do? You got to get all the office work into their TAFE days. What do you do when you get called out? What do you do when it's a one-person job? You got two people. Anyone who's measured a job before will be like, the job was profitable, quoted profitably, quoted well. I just lost money or made little net profit because I had someone next to me. So I'm a massive advocate for apprentices. I think they lower the overheads as long as you've got the labor efficiency, like you're getting the billable hours in. But when you've got a low overhead and a low labor efficiency, it can be really detrimental to the profitability of a business. So, but hiring is fantastic. I think apprentices have their place. My general rule of apprentices are if they were billable last week, billable this week, and billable next week, and you got some work into the future, great hire. So if you looked at last week and were like, you know what, I could have used an apprentice for most of last week, whether that's ducted aircon projects, solar, huge one, or certain types of electrical work, not service work usually or typically, unless you run a new PowerPoints and stuff like that, incredibly beneficial. And there's also like an ethical argument as well, that it's the right thing to do. Someone gave you your shot, so does that mean you should give them a shot? And the answer is probably no if you're losing money, and the answer is probably yes if you can make it financially viable. It's the right thing to do. And anyone that's had like a weapon third year come through your ranks, like I remember having third years that were better than most tradies, and it's such a blessing to your business. But talking about ways to hire here, and I just think hiring is just such an underrated aspect of running a business. It's like, how do you know when to hire? It's the general rule of thumb is I'm talking tradies from here. There's also admin you could throw in the mix here. And how do you know when to hire an admin? As early as possible, really. If get that mundane administration work off your back as quickly as you possibly can, especially when it's some mundane stuff like job notes, chasing up job notes, preparing invoices, reconciling, like just the basic stuff. Get that 2 to 5 hours off your back as soon as you possibly can, because it's just taking up time and headspace, and it's chewing into your profitability like a rat. You've seen rats gnaw cables? Well, the admin time is gnawing into your profitability like a cable, like a rat on cable. Crazy times. One time we opened this wall up and I saw this possum arm, like wire chewed back, and just this possum arm hanging on. How long had it been there for? No one knows. It's a mystery. How long have you been doing mundane admin work for at nighttime? It's a mystery. It's probably not a mystery to you. You're like, I feel crazy. So yeah, as soon as possible. We're talking specifically today about hiring a tradie and the ways you can go about hiring a tradie is so interesting. And I'm going to go through it because it's really not that many. So coming into it here. All right, I love this one, but ways to hire a tradie, you're always looking at who you know and who you used to work with and who's a weapon. One thing's for sure about weapons. Who do you know? Weapons. Weapons know weapons. So anyone that's good at their job, good at their trade, will be conscious of other people that are good at their job, good at their trade. So if you know anyone, went to TAFE with anyone, friends of a friend, I think you've got to back that personal relationship first and foremost. Poaching is a very, very interesting topic. I remember being on my high horse about poaching and about, oh, you don't do that. And I feel like yes, if you had a rival company around your area that you knew, you respected, you got along with, you wouldn't want to go steal any one of their employees. But I remember at the place I used to work, which shan't be named, I remember doing this coaching call, and I was like, "Oh, poaching sucks," and I was really egotistical about it. And then someone privately messaged me, and they said, "Oh, Crowe, I got poached. I got poached by the tradie that left and started his own business, and it was the best thing that ever happened to me. My boss was an absolute godsend dickhead, and he was treating us poorly. He was throwing us on jobs way too early, and he poached me. It was the best thing that ever happened to me. And it changed my perspective a little bit, going like you can't really have blanket rules for everything. You know, like some areas you can and some areas you can't. And that's my major issue with coaching companies doing all trades. It's like you're just casting generic lots and generic nets and generic blankets over everything without ever going too deep, because you have to, and that's the problem with casting big nets. We don't do this. And well, sometimes we do. It's like explaining to a child, we always tell the truth unless that person's fat and you call them fat. Like, and they're like, it's true. It's like, well, I get it's true, but you know, it's like, is you got to put it through a filter. Is it true? Is it necessary? Is it kind? Working with my boy at the moment, I say working like it's a job, but like parenting. And I was just trying to help him understand if it's true, you can say it, but it's got to be put through a filter. Is it necessary? So like, Crowe, you're going bald. Is that necessary to say? Maybe, as a close friend, maybe. And it's like, is it kind? Maybe not. So it's just like, is it true? Is it necessary? Is it kind? Like some things are true, but they don't need to be said. Some things are true and they absolutely need to be said. This is so interesting. The gray areas of people. Anyway, so poaching, is it frowned upon? Is it not? Fine, it's an individual case by case, but generally if you know someone, I feel like you can ask them if they'd be interested in a job. But that's absolutely game on. I also think that if you're in a good network of businesses around you where you can subcontract and lend each other people, we had a really good network back where I was from in the Southern Shire. We would lend people to people. So I remember shout out to Paul from Ampelect. I remember we had this big job and he lent us some labor. And there was this guy, Chris, who was so good. And he came to our job and it was a pub job. I remember looking at this guy just going like, you are a weapon. Like, you know, those people you look at, and you're like, you're an absolute weapon. And I remember he worked with us for like, I can't remember, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, whatever. But I remember thinking like, okay, I'd love to have this guy on my team, but it's inappropriate because like I'm friends with Paul. I want to do business with him in the future, and we've got a lot of mutual friends that's inappropriate. But I will respect Chris. I just credit where credit's due. That guy is, you need to bow down and worship that guy. I remember him just doing stuff. You know, there's people that you say like, can you do? And it's like, yeah, I've done it. Can you? Oh, don't forget, I've done it. It's just like this minimal direction, no fuss, just getting it done. That's the people you want to work with and you want to be around in your circle. Anyway, shout out to you, Chris. You're the man. Coming into, so always ask yourself the question, do I know anyone? And so always the same as finding work. Who do you know that can give you repeat work? Who do you know that would be a blessing to your team? So interesting. So do you know anyone? Check your existing network. I've had success from posting on Facebook. I remember posting, it's probably still up there. It's any electricians looking for work, and all my friends just commented, Greg Crowe, Greg Crowe, Greg Crowe, Greg Crowe. It was actually like a bit of a running joke, and I remember just thinking, okay, any publicity is good publicity. So it's like it just keeps getting shared and reshared. People tagging me, thinking it's heaps funny. Like you definitely need a job, and I probably do need a job actually. And I remember actually just looking at it, and we actually got our best staff member from that post. So I remember just posting it and just going, I've got to try this. For some reason, I get real insecure about posting things on Facebook. I don't know how you feel about that, but just get real insecure about posting things like that on Facebook, especially in and around hiring and business and stuff. And I remember posting it, and then we got our best tradie from it. I was like, okay, that was worth every little bit of insecurity. Maybe not our best tradie, but definitely up there, right? So anyway, so posting on Facebook, posting on Instagram. This is the importance of social media. This is a point later, but we'll bring it forward now. The importance of social media. Social media is a living, breathing capability statement website opportunity statement. Maybe it's like someone can check you out, check your company out without really like infiltrating the system yet. So people are watching from a distance, Celine Dion style, right? From a distance, God is watching. From a distance, people are watching you and your business. The importance of social media in today's, I think one of the most underrated parts of it is that people could look, and if people move to your area, they would find a job there. The best example of this for me is 40 from New Age Electrical based in Ballina. If I was moving to the Ballina region as a tradie, I would hit them up because I know them, I respect them, I like the kind of work they do. There's enough face-to-camera stuff to make me like 40. And I think I will reference, he's an obscure example because he's actually really, really good on camera. But what makes him good on camera is his authenticity. And I want to encourage you, no matter if you're comfortable in front of a camera or not, what's going to make you good is not whether you move your hands in a certain way or whether you wear a hat or don't wear a hat or whether you pronounce things really well. It's going to be authenticity is going to shine through. And people want authenticity. People want to see the kind of work you're doing and people want to see who you are. And that's going to make it easy for them to transition. So shout out to you, Ford. You are an absolute godsend to the electrical industry, and he's a hard example to follow because he's actually just really, really naturally good at something. But the example remains pure, that he's authentic, and that's what makes him excellent. And he cares about his work. So it's like just kind of suss them out, suss anyone you like out. I was a big fan of websites back in the day before Insta was a thing, but I was always looking into websites like Join Constructions based in Southern Shire, like Bellevard Constructions, any builder or high-end architect, and shout out to RJ Air, the old company I used to work for. Just their websites are so clean, so beautiful. Even furniture websites like Jardin and Koskela, just websites that where the people produce a really good product and their website looks simple, it looks effective, the carpet matches the drapes. For high-end residential work, you just need one photo. One photo tells 1,000 words. And if you get access to those jobs, you should be cashing in on those photos and putting them on the website, writing a bit about the team, but also don't be scared to let people see you, especially in front of the camera. I think it's really important. And yes, it's not for everyone, but if I told you posting something once a week, once every 3 days was going to get you 2 tradies in the next 5 years, you'd probably do it. And I think that's the metric you got to look at. Not of like, am I insecure or not? Is it the right thing to do for the business? If I was an employee, if I ran your company and I asked you to do it, would you do it? And I hope the answer is yes, because the metric of social media is unbelievably unmatched. People get to see the type of work you do, the style of work you do, the kind of crew you work with as staff members, the kind of crew you work with in terms of your clients. They get to see everything. And I just think it's really, really important. And I got to say, this is neither here nor there. You don't need to go viral on social media. I'm really not a fan personally of just the viral generic content. It's like, is that going to attract your ideal client? Is what you're putting out going to attract your ideal client? If the answer is no, if you're just following a viral trend because it's a viral trend, you don't need to go viral to the nation. You just need to go viral to an hour either side of your factory, north, south, east, west. So it's such an interesting metric when product-based companies try and tell service-based companies how to run their social media. And it's like, realistically, if I was an electrician in my hometown, I'm only going 45 minutes to 60 minutes away from my home or from my factory. That's the realm. But in Sparky Coach, we go Oz, NZ. Bang, we're there. we're out there. So it's such a different metric and feel, and especially if you're in a town that people like to move to. I'm thinking Gold Coast. I'm thinking cities. All this kind of stuff. You got to put yourself out there. Now, if you are listening to this as an apprentice or tradie and you are moving, give us a shout out because we've got contacts everywhere and we like to sort of pair personalities. I had someone the other day sort of wanting to come into our program, feeling us out, and they were moving back to Sydney. And I was like, oh, you got to partner with these people. These people, a lot of times as you like playing matchmaker, you're like, okay, I can feel your personality type. I know what you're doing. I know what you want to do. I get a good read on you. I know this company. I know how they work. Bam, you're a really good fit. And it's okay to realize that not everyone's going to be the perfect fit, but when they fit, they fit. So you got to match make that time and get it done. But social media is huge. Don't underestimate. We are hiring posts, face to camera stories, just that kind of stuff. I think it's cringy. Yeah, of course it is. There's a valley of cringe you got to go through. But if it gets you a result, was it worth it? 100%. 100%. So always check your existing network. Keep being active in the community. You got to surf. You've got to go to the gym. You can't stop your life for your business for a couple of reasons. You need to stay fit and active and look after yourself. That's very important. That's a metric. No net profit metric is going to measure your health, but it's very important. And the two are intrinsically linked. Your performance in business and the way you're looking after yourself will gauge if what you're doing is sustainable for the long term. And the better you feel about yourself, usually the better decisions you can make. So really make sure you're doing that. But I remember thinking I was too busy to go surfing. And I think, have you ever done that? Like, I'm too busy. That's crazy. Let's stop doing that. And I remember going surfing with my friend John, and John's a legend. And he was like, bring my brother. It's like, oh, sick, bring your brother. His brother was a Sparky. And we went surfing, and when I found out his brother was a Sparky, I was like, you gotta come work for me. Like literally down on my knees, just kissing this guy's feet, just going, I'll wipe the sand off your feet, just come work for me. And I remember he sort of like, oh, okay. And then we followed him up, and I got to know him well. And then it was about 6 to 9 months later, he actually did come to work for us. And he was so good at his job, and he was such a blessing to have to our company. And I was like, if I didn't go surfing that day, if I didn't prioritize myself and friendships, relationships, I wouldn't have met Scott. I wouldn't have met John that day. I wouldn't have met Scott. So it's like, you have to be consistently meeting people, whether it's kids sport, coaching kids sport is huge. Guys, come on, you have to make time for this stuff. There is going to the gym yourself, surfing yourself, Muay Thai, how do you say that? I'm not a gym guy, but like, go with me here. There's karate. Just stop. What are you doing? What are you doing to meet more people? Join the PNC at school. Be an active member in the community at some point. Join a BNI. Like, somehow you've got to get out and meet people. The more people you meet, the more deals you do. The more deals you do, the more people you meet. So go and meet people, right? Interesting. Check your existing company culture. Once again, culture doesn't have a net profit, although it should. It doesn't have a metric. Is that company culture good? I don't know. Like, how do you measure culture? Culture is just the way we do things around here. It's technically immeasurable, but like, is your business attractive to outsiders? This is where social media comes into it. And you can be, I went on a go-kart day. Those guys are doing their CPR training again, or they're putting them through their air concourse. If you're doing something cool for your staff, chuck it up. Chuck it online. Let the people see. Let the boy watch. Let the people watch. Sidetrack, is Eastbound and Down not the best series that's ever existed? If you haven't seen it, stop this podcast now. And Danny McBride, Will Ferrell, incredible. All right, anyway, we digress. But let the people watch. Let the people see what you're doing and make your company attractive to outsiders. Make sure you water your own garden. Sometimes in the need for new, you forget what you have. So in the need to be like, I want more tradies. It's like, well, you've got tradies. Maybe you need to take care of them too. Because if you lose someone, it's so hard. They're so hard to replace. You need to value what you've got in your hands. So make sure you're treating your existing staff well. On that, ask your staff if you know anyone. Do they know anyone? Do you know anyone? Do you know anyone? The amount of times I said, do you guys know any tradies? Do you know any tradies? Who's your friend? Where's your friend? Where's the money? When am I get the money? When am I going to get your friend? Where's your friend? Where's your friend? You need to be asking them. And the wholesaler, who do you know? The wholesalers know everything. They're a cesspool of gossip. We know that. They're a cesspool of, they know who's unhappy, who's late on their account, who's got a bad client, who's got a bad reputation. They know everything. They know everything. What apprentices suck, who's disorganized. They know everything. So this is the importance. You never tie paying your bills on time to hiring. And the two are intrinsically linked, right? If you pay your wholesaler bill on time and treat them really well, when an opportunity comes up, guess who they're going to call? You. Because they know you, they trust you. You're operating like a really high-functioning member of society. So as soon as a wholesaler bill comes in, You should pay it as soon as it comes in. And we'll wait. Don't wait. Pay these people on time. You know how it feels to be paid on time. How does it feel when the invoice hits and someone pays it? How do you feel? You feel amazing. How do you feel when the invoice hits and someone pays it 90 days later after several follow-ups? It feels awful. It sucks. This person sucks. I hate this. Why? What are you doing? Just pay your bill. So try and pay your wholesaler bill as quickly as you possibly can. And it's going to build rapport, build relationships. It's going to make them be able to come in on Sundays and deliver stuff to you. Like, you never picture paying your wholesaler bill on time with hiring, but the two are intrinsically linked, because the better you are to deal with, the happier someone is to deal with you, and the more they can recommend you. There's a job going on? Yeah, cool. Call these guys. They're awesome. There's a staff member unhappy or someone just moved to town? Great. Call these guys. They're awesome. Link the two. You got to link the two. Ask your staff. Post on business Facebook and personal Facebook. Post on community Facebook pages. I've never done that. But hey, desperate times calls for desperate measures. Crazy. Put an ad up. I hate ads. Do they work? I don't know. I've heard maybe 3 good stories from Seek in the past, ever. Or Indeed. Does it work? I don't know. But like, if it works for you, great. It specifically works when people are, you got a town where people want to move to, basically. Huge. Ask your wholesaler. We said that. Email marketing campaign. Hey, everyone, we're looking to grow. We're growing our companies. Anyone know of? This is underrated. Call every single builder, plumber, chippy, gyp rocker you know. Call anyone in your phone book multiple times. Do you know anyone? Do you call other Sparkies? Do you know anyone? Have you heard of? All this kind of stuff. Back to the poaching thing I was saying earlier, it's important to have a good relationship with other Sparkies in your area, because you can lend each other people when it needs to. If someone approaches you and you don't have a role for that person, you can chip them in and vice versa. So, don't be so short-sighted you miss the forest from the trees. You can advertise in the cities for rural people. You can target TAFE. You have a good social media presence is maybe the most underrated thing. Google reviews is one of those things. Does it work? Does it not work? It doesn't hurt. It certainly doesn't hurt. If you've got 1,000 Google reviews or 200 Google reviews, you've got that social proofing. Good enough for this person, good enough for me. I hate the sign-on bonus. I think anyone that does it work? I don't know. Does someone coming to you for $1,000 might go somewhere else for $2,000? I feel like you can mitigate that by just providing an excellent company culture and some really good staff references kind of stuff. If you can't find someone, create them. I'm a massive fan of apprentices. If you pick the right apprentice and they come through your ranks, your company, learn your style, your communication, your ethos, your ethics, your workmanship, all this kind of stuff, there's no one's going to argue with how much of a blessing that is to your overheads, yes, and your profitability. Absolutely incredible. Like upskill. So dual trades, especially if you're aircon, solar, electrical, you're morphing between the three. Upskill people, put them through solar, put them through aircon. Make sure that they are battery ready and all that kind of stuff. Subcontractors, I've had a few subcontractors, 2 actually cross from full-time subcontracting to employee. It happens. It's not common, but it happens. But if you just make it really, really easy for your subcontractor to come in and they do the hours, they get paid. On that, the ATO is changing all the rules regarding superannuation. So make sure you're on top of that. If you've got a subcontractor and they're an employee, and they're a sole trader or a company, they can be deemed as an employee. So make sure you check with your accountant on that. And the safest way is to either get them to sign a subcontractor statement if they're a company, or even just pay their super. And if they're a sole trader, just pay their super. Make sure you're paying their super. You don't want to be at a barbecue in 10 years' time and owe someone hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's not a vibe. I've never seen recruiting work. Does it work? I don't know. Maybe. Someone yell at me if it does, in terms of put it in the chat. I'd love to hear about it. But it's if you're desperate, they usually take too much money and they don't really know the trade industry. So I'm going to say it's a low ball. But if it works, let me know. You can use labor hire, which once again, it's a low ball, but I've seen it work. So you got to look at your ways to hire, specifically look at your existing ecosystem. Who do you know? Who knows who? It's so important to consistently be an active person on social media, an active person in life. Live your life. go and surf, go to the WSL comp, go to the Muay Thai, more like it. Go to that fighting event, go to that something you do, whatever you do, just do it well and keep being active in the community. Coach the kids' sport. Just keep being good in your community and volunteer. Go to just be active, be around, be present, and be good to deal with in life. And it'll be amazing what comes back at you. So that's the sort of ways to hire. If I've missed anything, let me know. I'm pretty sure that's well covered. You don't need to pay someone for this information. It's free information. You don't need to and we've got this on lock. So if you need this written down, let me know. I'll actually put it in the chat and the show notes of this. So be blessed. And if you need to hire, if you've got 3 weeks booked out and you've got them rocks coming in, it is a great thing to do. And it raise them up from within, look after the industry, and just be really good to deal with. Peace. That's a wrap on another podcast. Whatever you're doing, don't be too busy to stop and check if you're making money. And above all else, you know the rules. Be kind. See you soon.